Minister, the Housing for All strategy has outlined 4 main aims to support home ownership and increase affordability, eradicate homelessness, increase social housing delivery and support social inclusion, to increase the new housing supply and to address vacancy and make efficient use of existing stock. Your aspirations within the plan outline 90,000 social homes by the end of 2030 and an average new build component of over 9,500 social homes during that time. 54,000 affordable homes between now and 2030, with yearly targets for the provision of affordable housing, and a focus on new builds to provide social homes with the ending of long-term social housing leasing arrangements through the phasing out of new entrants. But beyond these targets, I'd ask you, Minister, what are the headwinds to this policy? And I believe that affordability is now the main issue and the main danger to your aspirations and to your department aspirations. The rising supply chain costs that may not recede, and I don't believe they will ever go back to the pre-pandemic levels. The lack of skilled labour and new entrants to the labour market, which is causing a consequent rise in wages and overheads. The significant developer fees in terms of water and electricity connection, and the other build cost movements that have escalated very quickly, the professional services, the insurance, finance interest charges and the embedded Irish building costs, supply costs particularly in materials of timber, concrete and insulated panels. You might not be aware, Minister, but if you went and got a container of building materials largely of those 3 items in Poland, you would pay up to 30% less than our prices in Ireland today. And what about government's take of fees and taxes in the build costs? The figure including VAT, developer levies and fees can be up to 25% of a new build cost. Perhaps the department might devise a mechanism where a tax credit might be retrospectively awarded to first-time buyers to assist purchase, but in a time frame that would not lead to developer price escalation. I'd also outline to you, Minister, the towns and urban and rural regeneration schemes getting existing property into habitable use, and this should be a primary goal of the policy. But how are we to fast-track planning applications and requirements? How are we going to deal with objections? How should we deal with listed buildings and still incentivise owners to develop? Or is the plan to CPO these properties, and if so, in what time frame will that deliver new home opportunities? In addition, I point out the rural planning guidelines and minimum density guidelines have not been confirmed in terms of the new plan, and local authorities nationally are now drafting their development plans in these areas. We need to see certainty regarding preferential planning to continue for families to avail of building on their own lands, and this should be extended to nieces and nephews, in my opinion. Many rural villages cannot avail of minimum density requirements, and if discretion is not offered in this area, the further erosion of rural communities will continue. And I see areas in my own constituency like Ballyduff Upper, Ballysaggart, Dunhill, Clonea, Power. They are not going to have new builds. If we cannot have a certain amount of one-off housing in those villages are dying on their feet at present. The local authority purchase scheme also, Minister, I point out to you, where the local authority proposes to take an equity share to be supported by a government affordable housing scheme. I understand that the department is using a rolling 12-month average build cost to estimate the support you will be providing to each local authority. Given the rapid change in building supply costs, I would ask your department officials to take a second look at this analysis, or otherwise authorities such as my own in Waterford will struggle to deliver on this policy, given the rapid recent price movements in the South East construction sector.